Fans of the Horus Heresy, thank you very much for joining me for a quick how-to video. And today I'm catching up on some of the miniature jobs I've not got around to doing yet. And I came across this, so this is my Deredeo Dreadnought, and I realised I'd not got around to magnetising the Aiolos missile launcher. And magnetising is a popular way these days to increase the weapon options on your Forge World models. You know, why buy several things when you only ever want one in the army and just swap weapons between it? And also it can make them easier to transport by breaking large complex models down into smaller components. So I want to do this for both those reasons. Easier to transport without the launcher on, also means when Forge World get around to releasing the Atomantic Pavis, I'll be able to drop that in as well. So what do we have? Firstly, magnets. So I am using these guys. So these are 5x1mm N35 neodymium magnets. So little disc magnets. Now the reason I've got thin wide discs is because of the nature of the mounting. So whenever you're going to magnetise something, you need to choose an appropriate size of magnet for it. So we've got this lovely big aperture here that this is going to mount into, this post on the missile launcher. However, when I was looking at this, I realised that the floor, as in the base of the mounting point, is probably quite thin. So I need something fairly low and not too deep to mount in there. Otherwise, when I drill a recess for the magnet in the top here, it might penetrate through. Oops, sorry about that. Might penetrate through there, and don't want to do that. So, hence the 5x1mm magnets. Right. So, how am I going to go about doing this? So, firstly, I'm going to using this bradawl, or a spike, if you will. I'm going to mark out a centre point in this area. So, if I think this is one of those things that is probably best done while you're building it, but you know, it's just one of those things. I didn't get around to it, didn't have the magnets at the times. It's one of the things that are best done while you're actually building the model, because I finished assembling it, so it's a bit more, going to be a little bit more hard work as a result. Because of the lighting in here, this isn't the easiest thing to get central, but I think I'm getting there now. That's about there. So what I've done, so I've used a bradawl to mark a starting point for drilling. So now I'm going to take my first pin vise, which has got, what's this? This is probably, what's that, about a 1mm drill, about 1mm. And I'm just going to do a very shallow starting hole. Now, as I said, I need to be careful and keep this whole thing pretty shallow. So I won't be doing, certainly in terms of here, I won't be doing much drilling at all. Right, so I've done that. There you go. Now I'm going to take the next pin vise. There you go, the magnets. Always have lots of hilarity with magnets attaching to themselves to things. When you're working with neodymium magnets, be careful of having mobile devices near them and other sensitive electronic equipment, because the magnetic field around these things is extremely strong and you potentially could damage sensitive electronics. Right, so, and particularly if you're working with higher grade neodymium magnets. So I've got some N52 rated magnets which I'm going to use on my warlord, and those have got an even stronger Gauss rating, so they're very, very powerful. You also have to be careful not to get any pinches on your skin or anything when you're working with them. Particularly really strong. I've got some much larger neodymium magnets that I used on my Warhound Titan, and if you were clumsy with those, you could certainly pinch skin of your fingers between them, and that could hurt. Right, so let me have a look at this. Is that central? Oh, it's looking pretty good. Oops, might just go a little bit the other way. I mean, there's many ways to magnetise, and you know, there's no kind of like one set way to do it. So, you know, this is one way of doing it. There are other ways you could solve this same magnetisation requirement. I hope this gives you an idea. Right, so done that. So now I'm going to move to a larger drill. This is about 5mm. I've taken it out of my actual power drill because I think power drilling this will be a little excessive, and I'm just going to do it by hand. It should be more than enough force. I hope you all enjoyed the analysis video on the fault rates for Forge World kits. That was an interesting thing to do, and yeah, I'll be doing more on that. As the weeks move forward. Right, so let's see if these fit. Potentially, I need to go a bit deeper yet. You can, when you're looking for drill bits to use for this, I mean, sometimes you might not have the exact drill bit size, and if you've got a drill bit that's a little bit smaller or a little bit larger than the diameter of the magnet you want to ultimately work with, well, you know, that's fine, because if it's slightly larger, then you know, you can just fill the space with a bit of glue. And if it's slightly smaller, then you can just kind of work the drill around and gradually expand the recess that you're going to make. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a single magnet into the body. That's a nice fit. You might need to go, let me take one off. I'm going to put just a single magnet into the body, because of that thinness issue I talked about. But then I'm going to put 2 into the launcher to get a stronger attachment. Now, useful thing when working with magnets, a large wooden cocktail stick. Because clearly if I try to do anything with my pointy bradawl, it's metal, so straight away the magnet will attach to it. So that's one of the things I learned with doing magnetisation. You need a selection of non-ferric tools. Oh, there goes one magnet. I'll retrieve that later. Let's go to another one. It just jumped out then, had a life of its own. So I think that needs to be, it's not quite deep enough yet, so I'm going to now drill a bit deeper with the correct drill, of course. There we go. I haven't got a pin vise that's large enough for this one, so I'm just using it by hand. But you know, it's a larger drill, so, and it's a small recess I'm making, so there's no problem there in terms of having enough grip and force and torque on it. I've done a fair amount of magnetising on kits that I've bought, decent amount now. My Warlord Titan I'm currently working on, I've been faffing around for some time designing a way of making the arm weapons interchangeable. And I've settled on an approach using magnets, but it's quite novel. And I will make a video for you once I get around to progressing it. So that's starting, I think that's nearly there. I mean, one of the tricks of magnetisation is, with mounting the magnet, is to get it to sit nice and flush with whatever you're drilling into. So imagine if I was putting magnets into the top of these ammo bins, I'd want the top of the magnet to be nice and level with the surrounding ammo bin. And then whatever I put onto that, it means that the surface of the other magnet is then nice and close, and you get a nice strong attachment, because of course magnetic force decreases very rapidly with distance. Right, I think I'm happy with that. Cool. Right, I'll pop that back on the magnets. Now, the next thing, and I can't stress this enough when magnetising, is the importance of maintaining polarity, continuity. So basically what I mean by that, if you're going to mount a magnet and then put other weapons on it, you need to be always careful when you do that to make sure that you keep the polarities consistent. Now this is a unique thing to this, so I don't need to worry about which way I do this first magnet. I just need to put it in. But when I come to do my automatic pervis, once I release it, I'll show you what I do as a little trick around making sure I get the correct polarity. Well, actually no, I will do it for this. I tell a lie, I will do it for this when I come to mount the corresponding magnets into the missile launcher. So yes, I will do it on this one. Tell a lie. Right, let's stick this fellow in place. I'm going to put some adhesive into this. Now, you want to don't put too much glue in, because if glue splurges everywhere, then you can affect the final attachment point. But here, I mean, this is a pretty easy job. It's just drop it in, and then I just need to push it into a final attitude or orientation. I should probably say, I'm not talking about flying here. A final orientation. And there we go. So that is my that's a magnet mounted in the torso of the Deredeo. Right, so let's leave that to start setting, and we'll move on to the missile launcher. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing here, but I'm going to drill deeper this time, because to increase the strength of the attachment, I'm going to put two. I'm going to put two of these magnets stacked, one on top of the other, into the launcher, and that will improve that will just give it a bit more strength, because I think one is a little flimsy. One of the things with doing magnets is you've got to you need to just play around with them. Grab two at once and just take them off the stack, and take one off the stack, and just think about the resistance you're getting when you do that. I mean, some of the magnet firms, the better ones on eBay, they also give you a load of information around they'll give you a horizontal lift holding strength and then a vertical one as well. And someone recommended to me once, if you're doing vertical holds with magnets, you want 4 times, so whatever the weight that you're holding, you want 4 times the magnet strength to ensure a firm hold. So if that weighed, let's say this weighed 20 grams, I would want 80 grams of magnet force if I was to mount it, kind of like in a vertical fashion. Right, so let's get the bradawl. And start on this. This should be a bit of an easy drill to do. I'm not having to be careful of all those auto cannons, ammo feeds and all the other bits of the model. Although it's quite securely pinned together, the Deredeo, so I'd have to be pretty clumsy to break it, but nonetheless it's still, you know, it's still not indestructible. So there you go, used the first pin vise to start the hole, and then working up a series of drill sizes, it just makes it easier to drill a hole nice and neatly and consistently. You avoid you having to put too much force on all at one go, and you can check it as you move forward. Now going to the final 5mm drill. I think this is 5mm, or it's 3/16, so it's an imperial measure drill. So yeah, not quite in millimeter terms. So there you go. So that's nice and central. That's the other thing that you want. You want to make sure you get your magnet or alignment central, particularly when you've got rotating parts, because otherwise it'll be a pain. So I just need to expand that a little. Oops. With the correct drill. Some manufacturers have really embraced the magnetisation craze, and approach, and they supply models with pre-drilled or pre-cast recesses for magnets. And even Games Workshop less so, because of Forgeals, should I say, and Games Workshop, because they want to sell you more models, and magnetising is an efficiency, makes your force more price efficient. But Forgeworld, they have done, on the Mastodon tank, they did cast some recesses in the front ramp to allow you to put some small magnets in to magnetise it. So there's a chance for them yet. Okay, that's coming along. Just need to work this aperture a little bit larger. So I've seen that there, by carefully working that, that magnet now fits inside. So now I just need to increase the depth of this this hole a bit more. The other good thing, the other thing for doing things like this as well, is you need a variety of drill sizes. Now on eBay is the best place I find to get drill sizes, because you can go on and you can say I need a 2.5mm drill, and you can get one. You know, and it's as straightforward as that. You don't, you know, if you go to hardware stores, you quite often find that you end up having to buy, you know, like a pack of drills, or you pay a very high price for them. But eBay is definitely, I find anyway. You might have a good local store who sell lots of parts, you know, loose drills. Now I've kind of lodged that in there a bit, so I'm I'm going to take a pause and I'm going to go get some really strong magnets to fish that out. So I'm back. Right, I had to faff around a bit there, but I've got it out. So I've removed the magnet. I've also got a Sharpie marker, which we're going to need for the next stage of this. So, right, let's finish drilling out. Let's finish drilling out this hole to make it 2 magnets deep. Oops, there you go. There we go, our magnets again. Nearly there, just a little bit more drilling. Depending on what you're doing, I mean, for most light applications like this, super glue is perfectly adequate as an adhesive. If you're doing something much bigger and a stronger magnet, you might want to think about epoxy. And I used some really strong epoxy glue for my Warhound magnets because the magnets were so strong and the joint was big. I just thought there was so much force going on this, I never want it to come out. So yeah, I used some 24-hour curing ultra strong epoxy to stick those in. That was a bit of a nerve-wracking moment when I glued those in place and left them away, just hoping, please don't move whatever you do. So if that moves, then I'm stuffed. There you go. So that nicely fits 2 magnets now. If I just slide that away like that. Thank you, magnets. You can see that's a nice fit. And just to show you, oops, get the correct side, you've got 1, 2 magnets going in there. Right, the next thing to do is to mark the magnets up to it. Before gluing them into this missile launcher, is to mark the magnets up for polarity, to make sure you don't glue them the wrong way around. So the first trick is to drop the stack of magnets on like so. So I do it like that. I then take my Sharpie and I just colour on one end. So I colour that up with marker to remind myself that that is the end of the magnet stack that needs gluing in. So it's a simple trick, a simple visual reminder, but it's well worth doing, because if you stick a stack of magnets in the wrong way around, you know, it's a real mess and you glue it by accident, it's a real mess to then put it right. So well worth a little bit of effort there. So yeah, right, so let's drop some glue in here. Now, because this is an accessible area, I can afford to be a little sloppier with the glue because it's easier to clean off. You still don't want to be messy, but I had to be quite careful with the amount of glue I put in the other location. There we go, and just wipe a little bit of that excess off. So now I've got my magnet stack, remembering I need to put the orange end into the aperture. That's 1 and that's 2, and then just going to quickly slide that off and drop it. And then using, again, the wooden cocktail stick, just push it into position, get it flat. And it's important to work quickly in a situation like this, because whenever you're working with super glue, you know, the adhesive can set very quickly, and because it's going into a tight constricted area, you know, you can very quickly run out of time on manipulating it. That's one advantage with epoxy. you have more time to manipulate your part. Even a quick set in epoxy, you've probably got 5 minutes working time. And there you go. Yeah. So it still turns. And hopefully, there you go. Done. Yeah. I mean, that's, to be honest, I mean, that's a reasonable hold. I could have put 3 magnets on for a strong hold, 3 magnets in here, but you know, that's decent enough. So yeah, I hope you found that interesting. A little demo on how to magnetize a weapon system on a Dreadnought in this case. Thanks very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye. A quick afterthought just on the magnetization process, and this is just a little watch out, something that someone told me about years ago, and they said they could never get magnetization to work very well on their kits. I said, oh, why was that? I said, well, what I used to do is and they were working with plastic models, they used to take their magnet and they used to heat it up in a candle flame to make it red hot. And then they said they would push it into the plastic, you know, so I'd press it in probably with a knife or something, or a blade, as a way of recessing it. But they then said, but once I'd fixed it, the magnet attachment never seemed to be particularly strong. Now, the reason that was happening, and why I would very, very strongly recommend not to take that approach, is that if you heat a magnet up, or a magnetic material up, and you heat it past what's called the Curie point, the magnetization will start to be lost and will very quickly be completely lost. So yeah, so definitely don't use heating a magnet up and then squishing it into plastic as a method of recessing it, because you may well cause a loss of magnetic strength through crossing that Curie point. Cool. Anyway, I hope that helps. Little tip there. Thanks again. See you later. Bye.